Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social, in association with William Hill, Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by Irish legend Carl Frampton. Carl, what a fight this weekend. Joe Joyce, Big Bang Zhang. When a lot of fights aren't getting made and we're a bit disappointed, this one's a proper entertaining fight in it for the fans.
Yeah, it is. Two big men, both I think 6'6", both over 19 stone. Both can fight as well, and both are tough. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think Joe has to be given a lot of credit for taking this fight, because he could have sat in the wings and waited, and he's already proved himself, and we know that he's proved himself to be able to compete with a very, very top level. But Zhang is probably just below the very elite, but dangerous fight for him to take that he didn't have to do, so you have to give him all the credit in the world. But I think it's going to be a smashing fight.
And when you talk about Zhang, he comes into this off the back of a Hrgovic fight where a lot of people thought he won the fight. What did you make of that fight? Did you think he did enough to get the decision?
Yeah, I thought he won by a couple of rounds. I genuinely thought he won the fight. It wasn't an out-and-out robbery like some that we've seen recently, but I think that he done enough to win the fight. Very good fighter, very capable fighter. Similar, I suppose, to Joe a wee bit, and that he's tough and he's pretty fit. I just don't think he's quite as tough and quite as fit as Joe, which is no shame really, because I don't know if anybody is. Well, a fantastic fight, really is.
The other week we saw Anthony Joshua make his long return after the two back-to-back Usyk defeats against Jermaine Franklin. New trainer again. What did you make of the performance? And apparently now he's waiting till December to fight. A lot of rumours about a tournament in Saudi. But first off, what did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance?
I thought it was okay. He's getting a lot of stick, but I thought it was okay. He still looks a bit hesitant to me. But I think if you want to take any positives out of it, his engine looked fine, and it was a reasonably high-paced fight for heavyweights, and he looked okay at the end of the fight. So I think if you're going to take a positive out of it, that's what you take out of it. But still, I'd like to see him put the combination together a wee bit more. Still is like a bit safety first type of approach, but I can understand that. But that'll come with confidence, and I think what I would suggest for him to do is get back out to Texas as soon as possible. You know, a few weeks off at home. Doesn't even need to be a fight in the lineup or in the making. Just get out there and get training with Derek James and learn and improve. I think that's what I would suggest. But I thought it was an okay performance, and it took a bit of criticism, but it wasn't bad.
He spoke about getting out there, I think, another 2 times this year. He's now said, I'm going to be fighting in December because of business or something or another. TalkSport went on air the other day. Simon Jordan said there's rumours of a heavyweight tournament to be played out in the Middle East. I believe it when I see it. It sounds great. But would you like to see him out a bit earlier so that he can stay active, where he's not having these long periods out the ring?
Yeah, I think he needs it, and I think it gives him more time to gel and learn with Derek James and get used to his training methods and his style that he wants him to fight at. So I think that I would suggest he has another fight in the interim. But look, it's not up to me, is it? And if there's a big money fight, huge money fight against one of the top guys around December, then a lot of times it's hard to turn down, isn't it? And you don't want any hiccups in the middle. But for me, I would suggest that he gets another one under his belt.
If he was to go in there now with the likes of a Joe Joyce, who's got one of the most impressive 15-fight records, I think, for someone who turned pro shortly after all the Olympics and the amateur record, or a Deontay Wilder, or someone of that high level, do you think he's ready for that straight away?
I don't know. Look, he's always got a chance because he's a big monster of a man, a proper athlete, really explosive, can punch hard, but I think Wilder's a dangerous fight for him while he's still a bit hesitant. I think Joe Joyce is a dangerous fight for anybody. I believe that Joe Joyce is the man that nobody wants to fight in the division. I think that you only fight Joe unless you're being really well paid, and you have to fight him. I think he could beat them all, and that includes Fury and Usyk. I genuinely believe that. Not saying he definitely will, but I think the top 2 in the division are set, Fury and Usyk. We know that. I think Joe's probably the only guy that can beat the top 2.
But you would fancy if Joe Joyce versus Tyson Fury got made for the summer, that's been long talked about, you'd fancy Joe Joyce to win that fight?
Well, I'm saying he has the chance to beat him. He's one of the only guys that can't beat him. Can he beat him? That's a different question. But he can. He can. Will he beat him? I'm not 100% sure, but it's a tough fight for both guys. It's a really tough fight, and Fury included. Like Fury, and I think Fury knows how tough a fight with Joe Joyce would be. But I'd love to see it, and we would all love to see it.
Sean Gibbons, Manny Pacquiao's promoter, Pacquiao Promotions sort of manager, he put out yesterday, I think there was a tweet that I'd seen that there was a fight agreed with Conor Benn. What do you make of that? There's rumours of a Kell Brook fight with Conor, and obviously Manny Pacquiao's 44, I think maybe 45, coming out of retirement. What do you make of this scenario with everything that's going around in the background surrounding it?
I just don't like it. It's all still a bit of a mess, the whole situation, and the fact that now we look at Conor Benn. The facts are he failed 2 drug tests, and he may be rewarded with a huge payday against a really old Manny Pacquiao who's coming out of retirement. Just doesn't sit nice with me, but doesn't surprise me with boxing. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. But a lot of people will be interested in that fight, but I don't. I think it could probably be a good fight, but I would try my best not to watch it. Yeah.
Fight next week, a cracking fight, one that's shone a lot of positive light on boxing. A fight that, to be fair, they could have waited a few more years, I think, in terms of Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. The fighting, coming close. John is, I think, approaching his prime, and obviously Ryan Garcia, they both got huge followings. It's a big fight where 2 promotional companies have come together and said, let's make it happen with the networks. First of all, what do you make of the fight, and how good is it for boxing? We're actually going to see it.
Well, we need to see more of it. The promoters working together. I think it's a massive fight for boxing. It's a great fight as well. I think most people have Davis as the favourite going into the fight. He probably is the favourite, but I'm not sure who wins that fight. Gervonta Davis is an incredible fighter, so explosive, but one of his issues is he can be a bit lazy at times. And I think he's short, he's like my height, maybe even a touch shorter than me. Really, really short. But his explosiveness gets him close. If Ryan Garcia is smart, and I imagine the game plan will be to keep everything long or really tight, nothing in the middle distance. If he can stick that out, he's a chance of winning the fight. If he punches fast from a distance, I think he could maybe win the fight. But Gervonta Davis is always in a fight because he's got that explosive KO power. We even seen against Leo Santa Cruz, who's a smaller guy, stole a couple of rounds off Davis just because of his inactivity in the rounds, but then he landed that explosive uppercut, which was unbelievable. One of the best shots of the decade, never mind the year. It's a really good fight.
There is another rumour going around on the internet as well that the fight finally between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence will be announced. Once again, another thing like that heavyweight tournament, I'll believe it when I see it. It's been often these things get talked about and never come to fruition. If we are to see that fight finally, is it, in your opinion, is it now past its sell-by date, or is it a case of now is the right time?
It's not past its sell-by date. Look, I think any time would have been the right time for this one, but if you leave it another 2 years, then it's definitely past. It should have happened. It needs to happen. This fight, you talk about fights. You go back to Pacquiao Mayweather. It was a monstrous fight that happened too late. I think now is a good time for this fight, and we go back to Duran, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler. That's the type of fight we're talking about here. So I would love to see it, and I think it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Who would you give the edge to in that fight? We've seen Errol Spence been through a lot of things outside the ring. He had that horrific car crash. Terence Crawford regarded as one of pound for pound best in the world. But how do you see it from the outside looking in? I know Errol's been back a couple of times since. I thought he looked sharp against Tank-Garcia to say he came back against him. But who do you give the edge to in that fight?
I really don't know. Honestly, it's a quality fight. You got to remember that Terence Crawford started as a lightweight, so he's a smaller man in the fight. Errol Spence is a big welterweight. Always been a welterweight. I don't know. Once the fight gets made, I'll maybe make a prediction, but I just want to see it, and I think it's a really hard one to call.
Finally, from me, Katie Taylor, homecoming in Ireland, speaking to a lot of the Irish guys in the last few weeks, doing a lot of interviews, and they speak of such admiration for someone like Katie, who's put on for the sport. In your opinion, I'm sure she will be. Is she the greatest woman of all time?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Katie Taylor. I love everything about her. Love her demeanour. Love how she fights. Just like the girl next door, but can really, really fight.
It's a good fight as well.
It's a really good fight. Look, and obviously I know Chantel Cameron from being in the same gym as her, and I'm friends with both of them. What I will say is you have to give Katie Killer a lot of credit for taking this fight, because she could have fought anybody in Ireland and it would have been a sellout, and waited on the Amanda Serrano fight, but she decided to go up a division against the best female in the division above. It's a tough fight to call. Hard fight for Katie Taylor. Also a hard fight for Chantel Cameron. But you have to give Katie so much credit for actually taking this. I don't think she needed to.
And last one for me, it's just come into my mind, so sorry about that. Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, I know you had a lot of back and forth with John Fury. Tommy Fury now, what would you like to see him do? Rumours are he'll end up fighting the likes of KSI, Joe Fonia, these type of people. Is it a case of it's really down to how much he wants to make it in the professional game? What would you want to see him do?
It's up to him, isn't it? You know, it's hard to try and go down the route of like a Commonwealth or a British title fight when someone is offering you maybe 50 grand for a fight like that. But you can fight someone like KSI who isn't very good and you may earn 5 million. What do? You know what I mean? I suppose he's in a difficult position. But if he wants to chase the dream, and I'm sure he's got enough money now because of the money he's earned from the Jake Paul fight. If he wants to go down the Commonwealth British title route, fair play to him. But the fights against the guys that you just mentioned are easier fights for a lot more money. So, you know, what do you do?
Have you and John ever spoke since that moment at Wembley? Have you sort of made amends, or is it a case of it'll never happen?
No, I don't know. Look, it is what it is. I have my opinion on the fight. I actually got it wrong. Tommy looked okay in the fight. But that was an honest opinion, and I've seen John a couple of times, but we haven't spoke.
Carl Frampton, I appreciate your time. Thanks for talking Boxing Social. Hopefully we'll catch up after this fight on Saturday.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.